Well, the rain arrived, and it's been raining since about 0100 hours, and it hasn't stopped. And there's a lake on the other side of the yard. Even with all our drainage channels, it's still laked over there. Anyway, that's not the point of this shorty. The point of this shorty is being a bit perplexed. So I've got to do an oil change. Well, I've done the oil change. I've got to do an oil change on this. Well, it's a diesel Mazda 3. I don't really like working on it. It's not the best or easiest of cars to work on, but I've done hundreds. Have I done thousands? No, but I'm definitely up into the hundreds of oil changes. In fact, interesting story. When we were children, you'd go on work experience, so you know, before you left school, you would, and I worked at a place called Catlin's, which was a garage in our local town, and they had a flow line, a service flow line. And the cars came across, and it would be oil filter, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's how I started. Anyway, so the point is, I couldn't find the oil filter on this to start with. So I had to go and look up online, because it's, well, strangely enough, for a modern car, it's a paper filter. Well, it's not in there now, it's in there. I can show you. There's the old filter. Paper filter. And then, according to the specification, the car only takes 3 litres of oil. Well, my lawnmower takes more than 3 litres of oil, so I was a bit... Anyway, so I took out the oil filter and the oil filter housing, which is a real pain in the arse to get to. Took out the drain plug, took out obviously the dipstick and the fuel filler cap. Let everything drain down. Went for coffee. 10-15 minutes normally enough to let everything drain down. Come down, everything had stopped dripping. Put a new oil filter in, put everything back in, filled it up with oil, and I'm going slowly because I'm still thinking, well, it's just... Anyway, I got it to the dipstick, was just up to the full mark, and then in order to get oil back into the oil filter housing, because the oil filter is not attached to the engine, obviously, because it's a Mazda, started the car up, run it for a couple of minutes, turned it off, went back, checked the dipstick. The dipstick is low. I needed to just add another half a litre. So this was a brand new bottle, and it's down to 2 litres, so 3 litres. Anyway, that's not the point of this. The point of this is, where's my bit of rag? Because we're going to need this. After I drained everything down and filled it up with new oil and turned it over, I pulled the dipstick out, and this is where I become perplexed. There's all new oil filter. Right. Look at the colour of the oil on that. Now, tastes like new oil, but it's black. And it took 3 litres. So somewhere, after draining all this out, there was enough old oil in the engine to turn the new oil black. Well, it don't make no difference what colour it is, because it's definitely had all new oil in it. But I've never seen that before. Is it against the white background? So, yeah. Don't know. Anyway, that's the first. Thought I'd share that. See, even this, yeah, she has her car, the oil changed and the service. See, it's nice and runny. It's not, it's black, but it's not bad oil at all. Not really. I mean, obviously it's black, but it didn't taste bad. The old stuff didn't taste bad, and the black stuff on there, well, it tastes like new oil. But anyway, it's not the first time this car's perplexed me, I've got to tell you. It's, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. Anyway, that's that for that. So we're down to drinking used engine oil because it's just not good. And that's why I did what I did yesterday with all the firewood to get it in the shed. Because anything out, it's just getting wet. And yeah, I had a little accident with our birch bark, our kindling there, and that's still stuck there getting wet. So day inside, I've got some boring stuff I need to do. Right, well, probably another cup of coffee in order. Right. Next job on this rainy day is to ignore the petrol that's leaking out of there. Well, it's like a little rotavator. Belt was churned up inside. Best I can see how it works, as I've taken this off, this sits on here. That's an engaging tensioner wheel. The belt sits between these two wheels. It's just bolted together. I've got the new belt. It must have kind of sit on here loose where the two things are together. We've got to take this wheel off. We can see these guides here hold the belt on the wheel. So I've kind of loosened that, and then we take this wheel off and get the belt on. And yeah, I'm hoping that's the right size, because it don't look like the right size to me. But anyway, that's our next little job. I don't understand. So this wheel looks a bit chewed up. No, maybe not. Right, so you have to, but you see these little guards here, they stop the belt from flying off. This is this position I'm in right now that really hurts my back. And my brother says to me a few weeks ago, he says, I got space envy. Space envy. This is the first time in 22, 25 years I've had such a small amount of space I've had warehouses and factories the size that would make Jeff Bezos, anyway, Amazon, when he started out, jealous. And yeah, we don't have that kind of space anymore, even to the extent that the space I have got so full of other stuff that I haven't had time to clear or do or get onto. I'm now on the floor in that crouched over position that does my back no good. What's happening here? And that's the trouble, where you've got so many things going on. I don't have the time and sometimes the inclination to clear up after one job. And so when it rains, that should be the time to do it. And then I've got all these other little jobs that I need to do. Now, what's interesting about this is, this peg here looks like it should have a pin through it or something. Right, so that goes on there like that. And then we have to put that back together, pinching that wheel, but this belt between the two wheels. And there's such a strong smell of petrol, it's leaking out the cap, I can't stop it. Oh, that'll be fine. Right. That's that bit. Now we've got to do this one up. Which we kind of undid to allow us access behind that wheel. Right. Maybe I should just crimp that up a bit more. Okay. Let's see if we can put this back together. Get that the right way up first. Kind of wipe up this bit of petrol, because, you know, the dog, bless his heart, he loves to drink petrol. No, not really. Right. That's a little bit better. So underneath here is where these two wheels sit and this belt, and you kind of got to, well, that was easy. You kind of got to get that together like that. Right. Well, that went a lot easier than I was expecting. And then there's these 6 bolts that go through this top flange into the lower frame that squeeze the engine and its flange together against the frame. And that is how the drive mechanism works. So that's the second strange, well, it's not strange, it's a little unusual. I have found a lot of interesting things here I've never seen anywhere else in the world. However, this is an MTD. It's an MTD rotavator, so there must be, here we go again. There must be a few of these around, and I'm assured it's a nice little machine. So I'm not quite sure how the belt got chewed up in the way it did. I can't show you the old belt because I don't have it, but when I took it apart the first time, it was chewed up in there, and that didn't make much sense to me because it sits within this housing. Anyway, we've got a new one there. Oh, I haven't got my knee pads in. That's the last one. You would have thought there's no room to, I mean, this is really, there's that weird size again. So this one here, it's not 14mm, it's only 15mm, so I mean, why are we using all these odd size nuts and bolts? So interesting fact, my 12-year-old daughter, she was describing something to me the other day, can't even remember what it was. And she said something about it being a couple of inches. She's 12, a couple of inches. Where's she got that from? We've been metric since 1974. You see a 15mm, 14mm won't go on this. On a 15mm. Now I understand when I work on my, well I don't have it anymore, but when I used to work on my old American cars, we had Imperial, old British cars, Whitworth. This thing is German. It's 2021. And I've got a nut that's 14 point, or a bolt that's 14.5mm. Am I having a rant whilst you're looking at the back of my head? I mean, you know, help me understand. 14mm, definitely. Oh, no, he said that, but perhaps you should be quartz on. Why does that not go on there then? Right, we'll take that back. And that's a 15mm. And the bolt's a 14mm. Anyway, that doesn't detract from my 12-year-old daughter talking to me in inches. That's just as well I know what inches were, because I can work in Imperial or metric, and I've worked in Imperial and metric, working both sides of the Atlantic, specifically in timber. And yeah, it's just kind of odd that, you know, metric was introduced in 1974, but here's metric. Old man came to see me last year, as it was last year, and he needed a big beam cutting for his barn, and he gave me these measurements, and I couldn't make head and tail out of exactly what he wanted, until I realised they were Imperial, in feet and inches. Well, I know where I am. So, and there's always been a lot of confusion. There's a small village just up the road. It has a cathedral-sized church. This thing is a monster for such a small village in the middle of nowhere. And so the story goes, when the plans were sent over, I'm assuming they were sent from England. I'm assuming. I'll make that assumption. I'll stand to be corrected. Anyway, so they built this church, and yeah. When the architect came to visit, he couldn't understand what they'd done. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it looks amazing. It really does look amazing. It's just not your average church here. It's quite an incredible thing. So I'm not quite sure which way they've done it, but they measured the measurements. They read the measurements incorrectly from Imperial to metric, or metric to Imperial. I've got no idea. But this thing, yeah, it's not the only one. I can think of many cases in my own world, in a former life, where it would have been quite easy to have made a mistake where globally timber was ordered imperially and locally timber is used metrically, and mistakes, yeah. Anywho, so I think what I need one of those benches that pump up for all this small machinery. I have the same problem. I have the same problem with the snowmobile, and I'm just got to get into the stage now where I just can't. What is going on? I just can't be getting on the floor like this and doing these jobs, and I can't lift the jobs up onto a normal workbench. So I've seen them, and they're on like hydraulic tables and things where you can put something, lower it down, put something on it, and just jack it up. Still, the chances of that happening are about 0. Oh, I don't understand what is going on there. Look up your pedal. You know, that's good, you just stand right there. Yeah, you're wet. I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. Why are you so wet? Why are you so wet? Is it anything to do with that rain outside, do you think? Right. I'm waiting. That's that. And there's also this little cable plug to put back in. This doesn't seem to have been in very well in the first place. See that? Yeah, what does that feel like? That don't feel like that's doing anything at all. How are we going to try this without rotivating up the floor? Alright, well, that definitely works. Right, that's another little job done. So that's an MTD rotivator. Nice little rotivator, that. It's raining. Keep ball. You're sitting in the rain. Why are you sitting in the rain? Has it got anything to do with that?